Hi guys, Goose here, and in this video we're going to be looking at the song Stepping Out, which was kind of made famous by Eric Clapton in the famous Beano album when he recorded it in 1966. There's a great version to check out with Cream at the BBC sessions, but it was just to mention that it was actually first recorded by Memphis Slim in 1959. Just talk about the gear that Clapton used. Obviously he used his famous Beano Les Paul. So a kind of Les Paul SG kind of works best for this. Not to say you can't play it on a Telecaster, of course, or a Strat, but I think if you really want to get into the vibe of it in the Clapton sort of way, framework, a Les Paul or SG or 335 is really great for this tune. And then obviously a Marshall Blues Breaker was used on the original. I'm just using my, I don't know if you can see this here. Whoop, if I just move this along. I'm using my, it's called the Crossfire pedal. But this is actually a tube screamer. That's all it is a tube screamer. So I'm just, for me, it kind of works. Tube screamers kind of work really nicely with Les Pauls for an amp. You know, if I'm not going crazy volume. So, but obviously, if you had a Marshall Blues Breaker, then you're going to get the tone. But this is suffice. So let's just talk about the rhythm. And we've got to know the chords. If we don't know the chords to the song, then you can kind of do it by ear, but it's kind of nice to know to anchor yourself against the chords. So we've got a basic blues progression. So I'm just playing like a kind of Jimi Hendrix style G chord there, going to a C9, back to G, and then we've got the 1 4 5 1 4. Sorry, 5 4 1. So it stays on the one chord, I think, for 6 bars, because you got 2 bars at the end of the turnaround and then 4 bars from the beginning. Now, obviously that's a bit faster than the Blues Breaker version. I think the Cream version was actually at the BBC sessions, that was somewhat faster. So you can toy around with the speed. But anyway, so once you've got that rhythm down, it's really good to just know what scale, what you're going to play. Well, there's 2 approaches. You could just play Clapton's licks. You know, you could learn Clapton's licks, and that's all you could do. But that's not really going to free you in the honest kind of improvisational sense. So let's look at a scale. Basically, G minor pentatonic scale. 3 6. 3 5 3 5 3 5 3 6 3 6 on going from the E string to what I call the high E. We can do the blues scale, which is a really cool scale. 3 6 and then 3 4 5. And then we've got 3 5 6 3 6 3 6. So it's just got that flat 5 in there. And these are all 2-octave scales. Then I'm going to be, we're not going to get into mixolydian and all that sort of stuff, but what you could do is play a few arpeggios, yeah? So these are the arpeggios I'm going to give you, just a G7 arpeggio. So that's 5th fret, D string, 4th fret, G string, 3rd fret, B string, and 6th fret, B string. That gives you the root, the 3rd, 5th, and 7th, flat 7th of a G7. We've got the same again for a C7 chord. So that's going to be 3rd fret, A string, 2nd fret, D string, 5th fret, D string, 3rd fret, G string, and then 5th fret, G string. Right. So that shape there is a C7 arpeggio with a root on top. 1st, 3rd, 5th, flat 7, root. And we can just go 2 frets up to the 5th fret, and that's going to give us our D7 arpeggio. D7 arpeggio, C7 arpeggio, and then the G7 arpeggio. Now that's going to really help us if we need to spell out the changes and play some cool chord tones. So, for example, I could be... so you can see that that's instantly given my solo a sense of the chords, and you don't even need to know that much. You just got to change those arpeggios in time with the chords. So that's something it might take you 6 months to practice that. It's quite a hard thing to do, but anyway, that's a really cool thing, that a device you want to take away with you. Now let's look at the pentatonic scale. So we've got this. pentatonic scale, right? So this is really the blues. We've got another box here, which is 7, 6, 8, 6, 8. We've got another box here, which is 9, 8, 10, 8, 10. That's in major. But this is a minor. We can add that on the B natural, which is on the 7th fret, which is major third, minor, major third, root. Then we've got another shape here. I'm just going to show you the shapes here, and then we can get to I'll show you some other chord techniques. We've got another little box here. We've got 13, 10, 13, 11. We've got 12 and 10. Come down to the 8th fret, 6th fret, 3rd fret. So that really gives us, and then we're here into our octave of the. So if you were, so you got, let's do it from here, 18, 15, sorry, 13, 10, 8, 6, 3. Notes are B flat, G, F, D, C, B flat, G, if you wanted to know the notes. And that string there gives me my anchor to form my solo for when I go up, you know. Sometimes when I'm going to this octave, I might lean on that note and then come up to the octave there, or whoop. And that's how I get from this place to that place. So say for example, I'll give you an example of that. So that's how I, you know, that really helps me, that kind of anchor that on that high E string. It's a really good technique. Now, how do we build up the rhythm? So let's just have a think about the rhythm. Okay, let's slow it down, guys. Now that is a really cool thing. It's a hammer-on and pull-off combination, which enables me to kind of solo with that rhythmic sort of atmosphere of the song. So it's so that's I'm kind of like getting really into the vibe of the kind of getting into the sort of rhythmic atmosphere, and the way I'm doing that is really just accenting those. So remember that. And now another thing that Clapton does, because this is really Clapton's song, you know, if you're getting tired of sort of playing this, you know, you can always do the real nice sustain. That's actually the root note, the G, and I'm just using my vibrato. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but so, you know, I mean, you can kind of overuse that, obviously, but I'm just showing you how to catch the rhythm on that song by using these kind of embellishments. Now, you can actually, when you do this, you can be kind of really on the beat, or you can kind of be a little bit behind the beat. And you see, so there's a way you can fool around with that as well. Now, we've got the kind of stock lick. This bending and vibrato, this is a lot of thing. This is kind of a thing that really foxes people. So when you're bending, find out the note that you're going to be bending to. So we're 8 to 10. It's a whole tone. Now, if we're bending this note, that minor to the 3rd, it kind of never arrives, but that's a little bend. Now, but this bend here, that really has to be hit the D natural. So you want to practice playing that. I'm bending a bit flat there, but can you see? That's how we do it. And what, thumb over the neck. Your thumb has got to hold your hand, okay? So make sure your thumb holds the hand so it doesn't fall off, okay? And that's going to be what we do for vibrato and obviously for bending. So when we're bending, we're going to use 2 fingers here. Can you see that? 2 fingers. And I'm using 3 even, if I can. And then for vibrato, same thing again. And we're doing, it's a wrist. It's coming from the wrist, yeah? Not the kind of hand movements or the elbow. It's coming from that wrist. And sometimes, Clapton would do this kind of thing, but develop your own. You can copy Clapton's or whoever you want, but just make it your own. And that could take you a while to develop, but that's with the wrist. And then bending, we're pushing the string onto the frets and sliding it up. That's where you want to think about it. And again, using that kind of technique with your thumb over there. That's really important, especially when you're holding long bends. A lot of people think that, that's hard. It's not. What's the hardest technique on guitar is to make it sing. And the way we make it sing is by bending up and adding vibrato. Okay, so that's really what you want to spend a lot of time with, and get that nice woody, Clapton sort of distorted sound. So, so when we're doing the solo, we're going to be targeting root notes. We've got these root notes here. That's G, and then practice your C's, because we're going to go to the C9, and then back to your G's, and then your D's. Now with those arpeggios, you might want to practice your thirds, because that second note in the arpeggio is a third. It's a C sharp. Sorry, it's not a C sharp. It's a B natural. Sorry, my mistake. So we could go. So you could just play that, starting and ending on the third, or fifth or whatever. So that's something you want to practice. And then we've got the rhythm. We've got some rhythmic devices. You might want to practice that all over the scales. Because you've got some other pentatonic shapes here and there, which you might want to learn. But to keep it simple. So can you see, you're kind of like, you're using, to improvise, you're using these various sort of devices, like your third, your roots, you've got your stock blues licks, like a Buddy Guy lick, for an Albert King, a BB King, and you can put all of these licks in there. But you want to have a framework and really know where your chords are. Let's play it kind of at a fast speed first, and then I'm going to slow it down so you can really hear what I'm doing. So there you can kind of hear, it's got the rhythmic value, it's got the you can hear I'm hitting thirds and roots and stuff, and so it just, if you took the music out, you could still enjoy the chords kind of in the solo. Okay, so that's kind of like something I'm really big on. Let's do it really, really slowly so you can kind of hear what I'm doing a bit better. Okay, so hopefully that's given you a few ideas. Check out, obviously, there's a few different versions. You might want to even go to Memphis Slim, check out the original, and check out Clapton. There's a few bootlegs of Cream doing it, and he's going to change that solo all the time. And the one thing, when you hear this song performed a lot of times, the rhythm is not great because you haven't got Ginger. Ginger Baker was a jazz drummer. He could really swing. He knew what swing was. and Jack Bruce was an incredible bass player. So you've got this amazing rhythm section behind Clapton, which gave him an edge. Clapton had a very good fluid style of soloing, and he had that rhythmic. He could, he caught the rhythm, and he knew what the rhythm was. And Ginger Baker often said that when Gary Moore was an amazing guitar player, but he didn't have that rhythmic sort of sensibility that Clapton had. And really that was because, Clapton was very young, playing with one of the best drummers in the world at that time, Ginger Baker. So that's really something you want to sort of really develop in your own soloing, is a sense of rhythm, harmony and rhythm. They're the things you want to have in your improvisation. Hopefully this has inspired you, if nothing else, if it's just inspired you to pick up a guitar and say, I can play better than the Goose. If that's what you're thinking in your mind right now, then that's amazing. I'm honored that you were influenced to inspired to play the guitar. So we're going to be doing more of these. We're going to be doing actually a Brian Jones video next on one of my favorite sort of guitar parts that he's done. Have a look at the history of that and the tone and everything. Okay, till then guys, take care. Goose signing out. God bless.